Hello students, welcome to a new lecture of periodic table. In the last class we were discussing about ionization potential, and if electron is removed from a neutral atom, that ionization potential is called as first ionization potential, and it gives unipositive cation. The same way, if you remove an electron from a unipositive ion, you will get a bipositive ion, and that ionization potential is called as second ionization potential, right? So I have taken an example of, say, sodium, okay, from sodium, but the condition is whichever atom you take, it should be a neutral gaseous atom, right? Whether it is metal or non-metal, you have to convert that into a gaseous form to remove an electron, right? So the definition which we have seen in the last class was energy required, the amount of energy required to remove an electron from a neutral gaseous atom is called as first ionization potential. First ionization potential, right? By utilizing this first ionization potential, or by using this energy, how many electrons we are removing? Only one electron. So let us take electronic configuration of sodium, for example, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. This is the electronic configuration of sodium, right? Neutral sodium atom has this electronic configuration, and from this sodium, if you remove one electron, which electron will always be lost first? Valence electron. Where is the valence electron? Here the valence electron is in 3s1 orbital, and this last electron will be getting removed, right? So you will get, if one electron is removed from sodium, you will get Na plus ion, and the configuration of that Na plus ion will be same except the last electron, 2p6. In 3s there is no electron, so whether you write or not doesn't make any difference, so let us omit that, right? So you will get a sodium Na plus ion, which is a unipositive cation. To get unipositive ion, the energy which you need is called as first ionization potential. Same way, if you want to remove one more electron from this unipositive ion, which electron will go now? The electron present in the valence shell. Now the valence shell is 2p6, right? So now, if one electron is lost from an already lost electron of Na plus ion, you will totally lose 2 electrons, and now the configuration becomes everything same except the last electron, 2s2, 2p5, right? One electron is lost from this 2p6, therefore the leftover will be 2p5, right? The amount of energy which you need to get bipositive ion is called as second ionization potential. Second ionization potential, and this ion is a bipositive ion, right? Is a bipositive ion. From a neutral atom, if you remove one electron, the energy used is first ionization potential. From a unipositive ion, if you want to remove one more electron, the energy used is called as a second ionization potential, and the ion you get is a bipositive ion. Now, generally for any element, its second ionization potential or second ionization energy will always be higher than first ionization potential, or IE2 is always greater than IE1. Why? Because you can see clearly that the electron getting removed first time is present in which shell? Third shell, right? If you are removing electron from the third shell, is it near to the nucleus or far away from the nucleus? There are a total of 3 shells, first shell, second shell and third shell. Out of the 3 shells, the shell which is at the last or away from the nucleus is the third shell, right? So the electron is away from the nucleus, means it is easy for us to remove that electron because it is not under that much attraction of the nucleus, therefore it can be removed very easily, right. Therefore this ionization potential will be less. But when you are removing the electron second time, you are supposed to remove that electron from which shell? Now the shell got a little nearer to the nucleus. Earlier the shell was third shell away from the nucleus. Now the shell is second shell. Second shell will be nearer to the nucleus, or third shell will be nearer to the nucleus? Second shell will be nearer to the nucleus, and the charge of the nucleus on that second shell will also be more than the third shell, right. If the nucleus is showing more charge on the second shell, the electrons present in the second shell will also be tightly attracted to the nucleus, and it is difficult to remove that electrons, right. On top of that, already the electrons are present in the second shell, it is difficult to remove, plus one more reason for second ionization potential to be higher is, in the earlier case the electron was lone pair, only one electron was present, right. Whereas in 2p6 orbital, complete p orbital is fully filled, right. All the 6 orbitals are fully filled with electrons. Once any orbital is fully filled, it is very difficult to remove an electron from any orbital in which electrons are fully filled, whether the orbital is 2p6 or d10 or f14, whatever it is. Once the orbital gets maximum electron possible, it is difficult to remove an electron from that orbital. The same case is applied here. Second shell is already near to the nucleus, it is already becoming difficult. On top of that, the difficulty is getting even more higher because the orbitals are fully filled, 6 electrons are already present, right. Therefore it is difficult to remove an electron from a fully filled orbital. That is the reason why second ionization potential, second time when you remove an electron, it is even more difficult compared to the electron which you have removed for the first time. So second time you need more energy, first time you need less energy. Therefore second ionization energy is always greater than the first ionization energy. You have to justify this statement. Why second ionization energy is higher than first ionization energy. I have taken an example of sodium, but any neutral atom you take, removal of electron for the first time is easier than the second time. Reasons can be anything. Here the reasons are two. One reason is the shell is going near, right, and principal quantum number is reducing, and the second reason is completely filled orbitals, right. The reason can be even more than that. Every atom might have some other reason, but whatever may be the reason, always second ionization energy is higher than the first ionization energy, right. So on what factors ionization energy depends? There are many factors. For sodium element, the two factors are deciding whether the energy of second time is higher than the first time, but for some other atom the factors can be different. So what we will do is, for any atom, on what factors ionization energy depends. Factors affecting ionization energy. General factors affecting ionization energy for all the atoms. Factors affecting ionization energy. In the complete periodic table, what happens to ionization energy? Who decides whether the ionization energy increases or decreases from left to right or from top to bottom? The first factor which decides ionization potential is the same, shell. If the shell is going away, atomic radius of the shell changes. If the shell is coming closer, atomic radius of the atom getting reduced, right. So atomic radius. Atomic radius means distance between the center of the nucleus to the last electron till the valence electron is called as atomic radius, right. If the atomic radius is high, that means the valence electron is far away from the nucleus. If it is far away from the nucleus, it is not in that much attraction with the nucleus, therefore that electrons can be removed easily. But if the atomic radius is less, suppose I have taken two atoms, in the first case atomic radius is less, right? So the distance between the nucleus and the last electron which you want to remove is very less. If that distance is very less, the last electron or the valence electron is under high electrostatic attraction of the nucleus. You cannot remove that electron very easily. Therefore, you need high ionization potential. When atomic radius is less, ionization energy will be high. But in the second case, atomic radius is high. That means the valence electron is a little away from the nucleus and the distance between them is more. If the distance between them is more, nucleus will not have that much electrostatic force of attraction on the last electron, and that electron is very easy to be removed, right? That much energy you won't need to remove the electron who is away from the nucleus. In that case, if atomic radius is more, ionization energy will be less, right? So atomic radius is inversely proportional to ionization potential or ionization energy. If the atomic radius is more, ionization potential will be less. If atomic radius is less, ionization potential is more. So in a period, what happens to atomic radius? You should know very well. If you know the pattern of atomic radius, you can apply the same for all the periodic properties. Atomic radius is the basic property on which all other periodic properties depend, right? So in the period from left to right, we know that atomic radius decreases from lithium till the last atom, which is neon, right? From lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. If you go from left to right, what happens is nuclear charge of the atom increases, but principal quantum number doesn't increase in the same period. If the principal quantum number doesn't increase, electron starts coming into the same shell, whereas nucleus power is increasing. So what it does is, it will attract all the electrons more powerfully, so they will be coming near to the nucleus, and in that case, if they come near to the nucleus, distance between the nucleus and the last electron gets reduced, atomic radius decreases. From left to right, in a period, atomic radius decreases. But what happens in a group from top to bottom is, if you take an example of lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, from lithium to sodium, the valence electron in lithium, if the valence electron is in second shell, in sodium the valence electron will be in the third shell. In potassium the valence electron will be going to the fourth shell. In rubidium the valence electron will be going to the fifth shell. As you go from top to bottom, the valence electron starts going into the larger shells. That means they are going away from the nucleus. If they are going away from the nucleus, the attraction of the nucleus on that electron also decreases, and in that case atomic radius increases from top to bottom. Lithium will be of small size and sodium will be of larger size compared to lithium. Potassium will be of larger size compared to sodium. From top to bottom, atomic radius increases. If atomic radius increases, it is very easy for us to remove an electron, therefore ionization potential will also be very less. So from top to bottom, atomic radius increases and therefore ionization potential decreases. This is the pattern of atomic radius related to ionization potential. What is the next factor? Let us look into the next factor, and that is screening effect. Let us look at the next factor, which is nuclear charge. First let us look at nucleus, right? If nuclear charge is more, the capacity of the nucleus to attract the last electron will be more. So how much nuclear charge is there, that much attraction on the valence electron will be there. Therefore it is difficult for us to remove any electron on which nuclear charge is more. If nucleus is trying to push the electron towards itself, can you remove the electron by giving less energy? No. To remove that electron, which is already tied up by the nucleus, you have to give extra energy, and therefore ionization energy will be more whenever nuclear charge is more. So nuclear charge is directly proportional to ionization potential. If the nuclear charge is more, ionization potential will also be more. If the charge of the nucleus is more, attraction on the electron will be more. So to remove that electron on which attraction is more, you need high energy. Directly related. The next factor is screening effect. To explain screening effect, let us take the example of lithium and sodium. Okay, lithium, the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, sorry 1s2, 2s1 is the electronic configuration of lithium, and sodium 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1 is the electronic configuration of sodium. Screening effect means we will not consider valence electron. What we will consider is inner core electron. You leave the valence electron. After leaving the valence electron, whatever core electrons are left, that electrons will decide how much will be the screening effect of the nuclear charge. See, when nucleus is present in the center, its responsibility is to show its power on all the electrons equally, right? But if anyone who are present near to the nucleus, that means inner electron, whether S2, 1s2 or 2s2 or 2p6, as they are present in the inner core, what they does is they will try to shield the nuclear charge from reaching on the valence electron. If they shield or if they prevent or if they keep any barrier in between nucleus and the valence electron, who comes in between nucleus and the valence electron is this is the valence electron, this is the nucleus. In between 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 are there, right? They are in between and they are called as inner core electron. What is the responsibility of the nucleus? It should attract all the electrons towards itself, right? But these electrons which are present in the inner core will try to keep one barrier or a shield in between the nuclear charge and the valence electron. So if a shield is coming in between nucleus and the valence electron, can nucleus show its effect on the valence electron equally? No, it cannot show, because the electrons which are in between or which are in the inner core will shield the attraction of nucleus to reach to the last electron, and therefore the nuclear charge experienced by the last electron will be less because of this shielding effect or screening effect, which is nothing but a barrier comes in between nucleus and the last electron. Why will the barrier come? The barrier is coming because of the inner electrons or the core electrons. What kind of core electrons will give more barrier is if s orbitals are present in the inner core, meaning in between nucleus and the last electron. If s orbitals are present in the inner core, we already know that the shape of s orbital is spherical. And you see in sodium that there are s electrons present in sodium. If s electrons are present near to the nucleus, they will shield the nuclear charge more because their shape is spherical and their shielding effect will be more compared to the p orbital. The shape, and we know that the shape of p orbital is dumbbell shape. Compared to s orbital, the shielding effect provided by the p orbitals will not be that much compared to the s orbitals. And whenever we are talking about shielding effect, we are not discussing about the valence electron. All the electrons except valence electrons will come under screening effect. So you are measuring the power of screening effect in the leftover electrons except the valence electron. In the leftover electrons, who has more screening effect? This is the order. If s orbitals are present in the middle, they will shield the nuclear charge very high compared to p, and then p orbital can shield the nuclear charge very high compared to d, and then d orbital can shield the nuclear charge higher than f. So which orbitals are having least shielding effect is f. If f orbitals are present in between, they cannot shield the nuclear charge. Even if they shield, it will be very less. If f orbitals are present in between, no barrier will come in between nucleus and valence electron. But is there any f electron in the case of sodium? No. Then who are present in sodium? The orbitals who are present in sodium is s and p, who has got highest screening effect, right? In that case, screening effect is more, means charge of the nucleus on the valence electron will be less. If charge of the nucleus on last electron is less, easily if the last electron is going out, even if the last electron is coming out of the atom, nucleus doesn't have any idea, because there is already a barrier. What is happening behind the barrier, nucleus don't have any idea, because a large barrier is kept by s and then p and then d and f. If f is there, nucleus cannot stop this electron, but these orbitals can do so. They will keep a barrier so that nucleus cannot see what is happening on the last electron. Whether you remove the last electron or not, nothing happens, right? So if the screening effect is more, you need very less ionization energy to remove the electron. If screening effect is less, you need high amount of ionization energy, right? So screening effect will decide how, screening effect of the middle electron decides whether you need more ionization energy or you need less ionization energy, right? So therefore screening effect is inversely proportional to ionization potential. If screening effect is more, you need less energy to remove the last electron, because no one knows. If screening effect is less, you need high energy to remove an electron, because the nucleus can see, right? So this is the inverse relation of screening effect and ionization potential. The next factor which decides ionization potential is penetration power. And you have to remember, each factor is talking about which electron. Is it talking about the inner electrons or is it talking about the valence electron? For screening effect, we have seen that it is talking about the inner electrons, and penetration power or penetration factor is talking about the last electron which we want to remove. Penetration factor or penetration power is talking about the last electron which you want to remove, right? Suppose the valence electron which you want to remove is in s orbital, right? And penetration power order is also same. Right? So s orbital, if the electron which you want to remove is in s orbital, it is deeply penetrated towards the nucleus. That means if the orbital itself is deeply penetrated towards the nucleus, then electron might also be more attracted towards the nucleus. So whenever you want to remove the electron, you just check whether the valence electron is in s orbital or p orbital or d orbital or f orbital. Removal of electron from s orbital is difficult because it is more penetrated towards the nucleus. Then a little easy is p orbital, then a little easy is d orbital, then goes f orbital. It's very easy to remove an electron if it is present in f orbital. Then a little difficult is electron present in the d orbital, then p orbital and then s orbital. Removal of electrons if it is present in the s orbital is very difficult because s orbital is more penetrated towards the nucleus, more bending towards the nucleus we can say. And therefore if penetration power is more, ionization energy will also be more, right? Penetration power directly proportional to ionization. And the last factor on which ionization potential depends is partly filled orbitals and fully filled orbitals. Partly filled means each orbital is having one electron each, and fully filled means electron pair is present. We have seen in the case of sodium bipositive ion that removal of electrons was from 2p6. As 2p6 is fully filled, the removal of electron from that is very difficult. Example, if you take p3, is it partly filled or completely filled? Partly filled. And p6, all the electrons are paired. Apart from p3 and p6, what else you have? You have p1, p2, p4, p5, right? You can easily remove the electron from p1, p2, p4 and p5 because they are neither partly filled nor completely filled. Any orbitals which are either partly filled or completely filled has more difficulty to remove electrons from them, right? So, for p orbital these two are having difficulty, and for d orbital d5 and d10. What else can you have in d orbital is d1, d2, d3, d4, right? They can be removed easily, but d5 difficult to remove. Then comes d6, d7, d8, d9 can be removed easily. Then comes d10 which is completely filled. Removal of electrons from partly filled d5 and completely filled d10 is very difficult. It is not just for d, for p, d and f, all the orbitals in which they are partly filled means half capacity is filled, or completely filled, that means all the electrons possibly can come are already there, is very difficult to remove. These are the factors on which ionization potential depends, and it is very important question wherein they will ask, write about ionization potential, why second ionization is greater than first, what are the factors on which ionization potential depends. Okay, let us see in the next class. Thank you.